What's up, everybody? Ryan Turford here, and welcome to yet another Video Games Monthly unboxing. I'm laughing a little because we just did one of these a couple days ago. But as I mentioned in that video, my July box is finally here. It finally made it. UPS and Canada Post came together, actually delivered it, and I'm so happy that it's finally here. Of course, if you don't know anything about Video Games Monthly, if this is your first time checking out an unboxing of their service, they are a retro game mystery box service where basically you tell them if you want 3, 4, 5, or 10 games a month. And you can pick from a variety of different consoles going all the way back to Atari 2600 and all the way up to last gen consoles. So Wii U, 3DX, Xbox 360, PS3, all that good stuff, and anything in between. And likewise, you also tell them what games you already have so they don't send you duplicates. So we're going to jump in and go no further, of course. My Video Games Monthly unboxing is finally here. I am so excited to finally unbox the July box. It's finally here. I mean, it could be anything in here. I mean, who knows? So before I get into things, of course, I should preface that because this came in July and was sent in July, there is a possibility that there's going to be duplicates from the last few boxes, just because I obviously couldn't update my library with these games in them between now and then. So just keep that in mind before I jump into this in full. So we got a whole bunch of stuff here, a whole bunch of cartage. The first one, though, really interesting. We got a Mario Kart sticker. It's, I'm guessing this is the freebie this month, is a Mario Kart sticker that you can stick to things. This is actually a pretty cool sticker, though. It's got Mario and Luigi, and they're riding around in a cart. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. We've also got this card that basically reminds you, hey, by the way, make sure to update your library 7 days prior to the end of the month, or they could send you duplicates. Next up, we got this card basically reminding you, hey, you can post a picture or a video of your unboxing on their Facebook page in order to maybe win some free games in your next box. And last but not least, we got not one, but two advertisements for Old School Gamer magazine. This is a retro magazine that is actually in print that you can subscribe to. I remember there was 1 month, it was last year, I think, that Video Games Monthly threw in a copy of Old School Gamer magazine. And this is basically just promoting and say, hey, by the way, you can get like a free retro keychain if you sign up. So all that good stuff. Well, let's get all that out of the way and dive into the box prior. I feel only one Game Boy game, so let's start with the one Game Boy game. Also, it looks like we did not get a 1-up. I think there's 5 games in here. So first game is Tetris 2. This is Jay Goldberg's copy of Tetris 2. So Tetris 2, we actually received, I think, last month or the month before for the Super Nintendo, but now we have the Game Boy copy of Tetris 2. I have never played Tetris 2 on Game Boy. I don't even think I've ever seen this game before. As far as it being played, I've seen a physical copy of it before, but I've never actually seen it be played. So I don't know how different it is from the Super Nintendo version. For what it's worth, the Super Nintendo version is pretty fun, but it's not the same type of Tetris that you're used to. You're not going for lines so much as you're matching up the different shapes together, or you're basically trying to eliminate blocks, almost like Dr. Mario. It's a lot closer to that game than traditional Tetris. So Tetris 2, I'm interested in checking out the Game Boy version. Hopefully it's a lot of fun, and yeah, I'm really interested to try that one out. Again, I love the fact too that it's a Game Boy game that I've just never played, or even, again, I've never seen a Let's Play or a long play of that. So yeah, I'm excited to check that one out. Next up, we got a Super Nintendo game. I think it's the only Super Nintendo game this month. We got Miss Pac-Man. All right. So I actually have the Genesis version of this. I think Video Games Monthly sent this to me last year, but now we have the Super Nintendo version of Miss Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man, my very favorite version of Pac-Man. The console version is a little bit different from the arcade version, especially because it doesn't give you the full screen, or at least that's how it was in the Genesis version. I haven't actually played the Super Nintendo version, but I imagine it's mostly more of the same. But Miss Pac-Man, super fun arcade style game. I love it a lot. I love the level design and the music in Miss Pac-Man. The whole look of the game is really unique, and I love it more than normal Pac-Man. So I'm super excited to check this one out. You're going to stand it up. All right. Next up, NES game. We got, well, it's a save cartridge, so that's fancy. We got Final Fantasy. Yes, this is awesome. Okay, so Final Fantasy, believe it or not, not only just the first Final Fantasy game, but also the very first Final Fantasy game that I ever played. I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy as a whole. I remember going over to my cousin Andrew's house, and he had 3 NES games. One of them was Super Mario Brothers. One of them was X-Men, the LJN X-Men game. And one of them was Final Fantasy. And I remember just playing it a ton, even though I had no idea what we were doing. It was back in the day where I just didn't really know anything about RPGs at all. I didn't even actually identify this as an RPG at the time, because that was back before I was reading stuff like Nintendo Power or GamePro and learning more of the terms. So I just thought it was some weird like overhead taking turns game or like a strategy game almost. It wasn't until later when I had finally figured out what RPGs were back in like the 16-bit days that I look back on Final Fantasy and like, oh, this was actually the first RPG I ever played, and had a ton of fun with it back then. And I've never actually owned a copy of Final Fantasy myself. Again, I played it a ton at Drew's house, but never actually owned a copy myself. So this is a super awesome get, and I'm really happy to have this. Again, Final Fantasy is always traditionally a pretty expensive title in my area. Not super expensive, but usually outside my normal budget, especially when it comes to a lot of retro stuff. So it's one of the reasons why I haven't picked up a copy yet, but I'm glad to get it in this box for sure. So next up, we got Double Dragon. Nice. This is probably like the cleanest copy of a game I've ever seen from one of these boxes. I mean, all the games usually are very clean, but it's just like this one looks like it's never been used. Even the label is like super shiny. So Double Dragon, really fun brawler. I actually don't know if I like the NES version more than the arcade version, but they're both equally fun for different reasons. And especially because I like kind of that there's like RPG-esque mechanics where you've got like a leveling system and stuff in this. But overall, really fun game, fun brawler. I don't think it holds up super well. It definitely doesn't hold up as well as Double Dragon 2 The Revenge, but I'm so glad to add this to the collection and finally have Binny and Jimmy coming to the collection in Double Dragon. So before we get to the last game, I feel another sticker. We got Toad, and he's throwing some Mario Kart barrels, I guess, or oil drums or whatever these are supposed to be. I mean, they've got the little like Toad like racing symbol on them, so I'm assuming they're Mario Kart related. But yeah, another cool sticker. So we got 2 this month. That's actually pretty cool. So some cool gets. Again, Video Games Monthly does different stuff. A lot of times it's usually Video Games Monthly branded merchandise, but this time around it was Mario stickers, which is pretty cool. So last but not least, we have Spy Hunter. And this one also is like, looks like brand new. So Spy Hunter, really interesting arcade game. It basically is like a top-down racing game where you're basically not so much racing against opponents so much as you're trying to take down either other cars or planes or other things, and your car can transform into a boat and fire missiles, because basically you're a spy. You're basically James Bond in this game, and you're just driving around, again, trying to fulfill some different objectives and get the most points possible. I played it a lot in the arcade, but again, I never really played the NES version. I remember definitely playing like the arcade port, because it's been ported to a million different compilations by now. But I've never actually played the NES version of this, so I'm excited to check this one out. I'm imagining it's pretty similar to the arcade game, but obviously there's always a bunch of quirks when you port games over to NES because they're never arcade perfect. So I'm definitely excited to check this one out. So there we go. This month, pretty sweet haul of games overall. Again, a couple games that I've played before, a couple games I've never played before. And again, Tetris 2, I've never even seen the Game Boy version of that game played. So I'm excited to play that. And again, no duplicates, which was super awesome. I'm so happy that we managed to avoid the duplicate curse, especially given the fact that I just couldn't update my library in between boxes. So what do you think about this month's haul, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the comments below. Also, again, what do you think about some of these games? Again, let me know as well. Is Tetris 2 on Game Boy fun? Let me know that as well. And of course, if you like what we do here on Ryan Turford Games, of course, like this video, subscribe to my channel. Again, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford, and as well, my Xbox podcast, The Xbox Drive, over on Twitter at The Xbox Drive, or your podcast service of choice. So thank you so much for watching my July 2020 unboxing of Video Games Monthly, and we out. See you next month, everybody.